So if you're anything like me, you don't keep things stocked for very long. If you're watching this video, you're probably interested in a new front bumper. I was looking for a new front bumper for my 2016 Renegade X. I've been doing a little more powder riding, a little more tree riding, and I wanted some more protection. What I found are these Backwoods BMP bumpers. Look amazing, and they're super strong. I just ordered it, and it just came the other day. Super excited. I thought I would give some pointers to someone that's gonna get one of these to do an install. If you do not have a skid plate, it's fairly straightforward. I'm not gonna go through the whole process. Most of you know how to take your hood off by now. Super simple. Pull your gauge cluster, 2 notches, pull the gauge cluster off, unhook it. You got the 2 bolts up top, 2 bolts on the sides. Undo your airbox, undo your airbox sensor, take off your breather tube, and the whole hood slides off. Super simple. Next thing you need to do is pull off your muffler, exhaust. Super simple. 4 springs at the Y pipe, 1 spring up top, 2 springs at the can. Pipe comes out. Well, before the pipe comes off, you have 2 more screws. 1 here and 1 on the other side. You've got this other little piece of nose piece that needs to come off. You can take your pipe out. And what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna make your sled go from this to this. Much stronger, and it looks a heck of a lot better. Initial instructions, without a skid plate, the way this mounts, well, what you're gonna have to do is uninstall your existing bumper. You have 2 bolts up high, undo those, then you have 4 rivets. 2 here and 2 here that need to be drilled out. Existing bumper comes off. Easy, easy, no issues there. To install this on your bulkhead, right here's a picture. You have 2 rivets down low. Drill those rivets out, and that's where the bolts for the bottom of your new bumper are gonna mount up through. But first thing you're gonna do is you gotta cut a couple of relief notches in the existing bumper holes for this bigger pipe to slide through. Just take a razor blade, cut 2 little notches on the upper and lower part of the inside of this section. That allows it to flex a little more so the bumper slides in. Once you do that, you tighten your 2 top bolts that the existing muffler came out of. Really easy. Bottom bumper, where you drilled out the 2 rivets, your bolts will run up through the bottom, come up, you bolt it in. Super simple. You'll need, once that's set, you'll drill from the inside your existing rivets into the new bumper, and it's mounted. But if you're like me and you buy a snowmobile, you typically want to protect it, so you put on a skid plate. The skid plate makes the install a little more tricky, and this is where I thought this video might help some people that are interested in doing this. With the skid plate, it's a little harder to press this bumper up into the existing bolt holes. If you had a bunch of people to try to squeeze that and hold it, and a person to try to bolt holes to put those in, maybe. It wasn't easy. With a little bit of ingenuity, once you got this off, you've got a cross member that comes across the front of the snowmobile. I ran a ratchet strap around that through the grill onto this bumper. Allows you to ratchet the bumper up into place by yourself and put the bolts in. Super simple. But now, with the holes that they want you to use through the bulkhead, when you drill out the rivets, it's not going to line up. No matter what you do, it's not going to line up with those holes due to the skid plate. So what you're going to do is get the top bolts in, get it set in place, drill now the holes through the new bumper, through the skid plate, and through your nose cone. Where mine came through, my drill actually touched the front edge of the bulkhead. So when I put my washers on, the washers actually go halfway over the bulkhead. So you've got some metal there that helps to reinforce along with the skid plate and nose cone. But what I found with the skid plate on, the bolts that they send you to do this are too short. There's no way for you to run the bolt through the bottom of the new bumper into the nose cone and get a nut on. It just won't happen. But if you have a heat gun and a floor jack like this, it makes it a little more easy. Run your floor jack up under the bumper, and I put a piece of cardboard on so I don't scratch up my new bumper, and jack up the snowmobile so the weight of the snowmobile is pressing down on the skid plate and on the new bumper. It took me maybe 5 minutes with my heat gun. Running the heat gun on the skid plate allowed the snowmobile to press down the skid plate to the point where the bolts would go through the holes. Once you do that, you run your bolts up into the holes, bolt them on. Super simple, but it took a little bit of thinking before I got to that point, so this will probably help some of you. So now you're tightening your top bolts. You got those tightened. All you need to do now is take your drill and drill the two rivet holes on this side and the two rivet holes on this side and rivet it in. And then you've got a fantastic looking, super strong bumper that I would say is twice as strong as the stock bumper. So I hope this helps some of you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Real easy though. They don't send you instructions in the box. You can go on their website. But it's usually easier for me to watch a YouTube video and somebody that does it and kind of tells you how to do it than try to read through the instructions and figure it out myself. So good luck and happy riding.